Hi guys, Bolt here once again. Today I want to kind of take a little bit of your time to recap what has been happening with WARNO. So a couple weeks ago, the McDonald patch did a lot of things. It nerfed SMGs quite a bit, actually. It buffed infantry damage in general, reducing the time to kill. It nerfed autocannons a lot, and with nerf I mean it broke completely by making them fire 60 rounds per minute, which basically takes the auto out of autocannons, unfortunately. But besides that, it's been interesting. Laser bombs got buffed, making them laser accurate. Man, I am full of puns today. And other than that, bombs and artillery got more damage, but less dispersion damage, if that makes sense. So a lot of things were made more, a little bit more spicy, just to sum it up nicely, and a general rebalancing of cost of units was done as well. So in general, it was an okay update. It was an okay patch. So after that, a couple days later, I should say a week later, they released patch notes, or they released an update talking about WARNO's foreseeable future. And the first thing Eugen talks about is the Army General campaign, which I've been waiting for months. But unfortunately, we still haven't received kind of a rough time of where we get to play with this campaign. So they say that the first Army General campaign, called Broederkrieg, will be released in the, and I quote, not too distant future, end quote. And for a Dutch person that likes to plan absolutely everything on his agenda, that is very frustrating. I like to at least know a month where we get to play with this, okay? So I would like Eugen to kind of focus a bit more on that, and also gives them a deadline that they have to roughly adhere to. Besides Broederkrieg, the other 4 major Army General campaigns are coming along just nicely as well, according to Eugen, so we get to play with 5 at release. Now they also teased us with a urban map a couple weeks ago, maybe even a month or 2 ago, but they determined that it's too small for multiplayer, so it will be added into the Army General version instead, but we will also get a larger version that we get to play with in multiplayer. And besides this one, they're also making several other urban maps, so there's going to be a lot of close quarters for us. So besides that, they're adding something completely new, and that is a brand new series of Bradleys. Right now we have the M2A2 and the M3A1 CFVs, or IFVs and CFVs, but we're going to get the M2 Bradley, which has the same stats as the current M2A2 Bradley, but it only fires the ITO. Then we have the M2A1 Bradley, which have the same stats and weapon loadout as the current M2A2. The M2A2 Bradley will be the heavily up-armored version of this M2A1. Then we have the M3 Bradley, which is the same as the current M3A2, but only fires the ITO. Then we have the M3A1, which is the same as the current one, and then we have the M3A2, which is a heavily up-armored variant. So we're seeing a lot of changes to IFVs and CFVs, which I really like seeing. Autocannons and just infantry transport vehicles, or just vehicles in general like this, are really fun to play with instead of just having infantry and tanks. So it adds a lot more variability or variety to the game. And these will be included into the 3rd Armored Division. So it is nice to see that this battle group gets some changes too. And it's honestly good that I'm kind of waiting with a battle group tier list until some of these big changes are happening, because I believe that the Bradley changes, they're gonna make the 3rd Armored Division a little bit more powerful, for sure. So let's move on to the latest hotfix that they released yesterday, September 15. This rolled back quite a lot of things that McDonald patch implemented. For example, autocannons and SMGs were rolled back to their previous state, so that is really interesting to see. The dispersion for all rocket artillery was slightly reduced, making them more accurate. And all rocket launcher artillery got 5% more damage, and suppression, so the splash damage from suppression, got increased as well. A slight decrease in cost for a lot of rocket units, or a lot of MLRS units, such as the BM21 and MF70 were decreased to 210 points, the napalm launcher decreased to 210, and the grad increased to 155 points. So the M270 MLRS and the Mars that got nerfed in availability got buffed in price, but since we have only 1 per card, I think it's a good kind of compromise, since Warsaw Pact has so many other kind of variants that are much cheaper. So it's nice to see that NATO's MLRS is getting a slight discount, let's say. Big change was made to machine guns. All mounted machine guns, heavy machine guns and medium machine guns, now also display accuracy by salvo. So when you look at mounted MMGs, you will see a base accuracy, for example 55%, and then you will see an accuracy by salvo which is 15%, and mounted HMGs are set to 50% and 10%. So that's quite interesting. Kind of a general changes were made to a couple of planes. For example, the Mirage 3's HP, the MiG-21 Harrier, F104, Alpha Jet, and Gyna HPs were all decreased to 8 and or 6 in the case of the Alpha Jet, so they're definitely much more vulnerable. One big change was made to amphibious vehicle speed, so until now I haven't really seen anyone use amphibious pushes at all, simply because they're just too slow, they get spotted easily, and before you get to the other side of the body of water, the game is over. So the amphibious vehicle speed was raised by 25%, which is quite drastic, honestly. So that's going to be interesting to test out, and I really want to do some amphibious pushes. So a lot of things were done to Resolute trades and veterancy in general. For example, the Resolute trade now reduces the suppression taken by 15% instead of 25%. 25% being quite significant, and since a lot of Warsaw Pact infantry has Resolute trade, this tiny 10% nerf I think is definitely necessary, because a lot of NATO forces don't have any trades. Mainly they have IFE trade or something. So besides autocannons being rolled back to pre-McDonald patch, their accuracy is now actually buffed by 15%, and the HE power was increased by 50% and suppression by 15%. So autocannons are back in action. Now one thing that McDonald's proved to also implement is accuracy increase in successive shots. Now I have yet to kind of test this out or see it in action, so I will definitely kind of withhold my opinion on this or my conclusion until I have done a couple of games, or until I actually have some statistics on this. So I'm going to be I'm gonna wait with my kind of observation on that, but we'll have to wait and see. So these are kind of the general changes that have been made to the game with this latest patch. If you want to see all of the specific changes, you can do so via War Yes and then patch updates. I will have a link down in the description so you can check it out yourself, but it's quite useful to kind of look at all specific changes. More than 700 units were affected by these changes, so there's quite a lot. But yeah, hopefully this video was informative and useful. And if it was, like the video, subscribe, comment down below your thoughts of this latest kind of hotfix and or patch, and I'll see you guys on the battlefield. Take care.